because
I
you
haven't
just
looked
never
at the
know.
forecast.
I haven't looked at the. I'm not going fishing this weekend, so I don't care.
Right.
You know, that's what I did last. I was all last week. I was just checking the weather. Okay. Oh, what's the weather? Okay. Oh, we got a. Oh man, we got a 30% chance of rain, and it did rain like at 2:30 Sunday morning, and it rained for like 45 minutes, and then after that, we were good to go.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. We enjoyed it. So y'all gonna have to go with me one weekend next time we go. We have a good time out there. All right, so 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us if you'd like to join the show. By the way, I want to tell y'all, go out to my son's, my daughter-in-law's website, um, thecolemancollection.com. And they're all, and this is specifically for you, Tamika. They
Okay.
have all types of beauty stuff.
Oh
They
yeah.
do. She does. Sonetta does crystals. She does incense. She does lotions, makeup remover, all that kind of stuff. So it's the ColemanCollection.com. Y'all go check my son, my daughter-in-law and son's website out. It's doing pretty good. So I think you all will enjoy it. Yes, that's a shameless promotional plug for my son.
Don't say shameless. Don't say shameless. Don't do that. Don't do that.
So
Don't do that, player.
just thought I'd give them a little love. They up there in Baltimore.
That's what's up. That's what's
My granddaughter is not going to school. She's doing all virtual.
That's cool.
They had said that they were trying to send some of the students back. And it's sad that every state has a different policy because this is one of those situations where you probably need to be in concert. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they had wanted to send some of the kids back, and because my son and his wife had decided that hey, she's not going at all, and you had to say that at the beginning of the year.
Right.
And so she's not good. She said, in fact, I talked to my son this morning. He said, we'll reevaluate that next fall. So they have the option to do that. Unfortunately, um, she's doing well. She's making straight A's. And it's been tough on her because she didn't, they just moved there last year. So she doesn't have any friends,
Oh wow.
none of that. So it's really been tough on her, but hopefully she'll be okay. So a lot of stuff to talk about today. We are expecting Terry Hollingsworth.
Tomorrow.
It is tomorrow. Okay.
No, she's
So-
busy. She's working hard today.
Okay.
Making it do what it do over
Okay.
there.
Let's see. Let me make sure we don't have. I think we good tomorrow.
Think so?
Yeah. But seems like we've got something Thursday though. I've got to start doing a better job with this calendar.
Yeah, we need.
Oh no, Shanice is Thursday.
Shanice is Thursday.
Shanice is Thursday.
Yeah, we need Cliff
Okay.
back, man. We've been split.
Okay.
We need Cliff D back.
That's something that we might have to
Cliff kept
delegate.
us in line.
Well, let's see. You want to be able to maintain the calendar for the show?
Sure.
Okay. So see how that worked. See how that
Yeah, that
worked.
was easy.
Okay, so
Easy breezy.
so
Easy breezy, T.
I'll give you all that information
Okay.
so you can log on because all of us who are part of the show need to be able to log on to Black Focus Radio at Gmail, and because we all are going to be sending email eventually and so on and so forth. But also when you book guests, you need to make sure that you make sure that you put it in the calendar so we'll know. So that way you can go and look. If you're going to book a guest, well, let me check the calendar and see what the time
Hey,
is.
we could do this some other time. I don't think people want to hear us talk about booking guests.
Ooh.
You say I'm looking at you, dog. Because this week I ain't playing with you rappers. I ain't playing with y'all this week. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, we ain't playing with you Prince types this week.
I might cut one of y'all. So.
Take your ruffles and walk over to the side.
Wow.
Hey, don't talk about my boy now. But yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about. Of course, there's still backlash going on. I saw the thing about Well, what is 50 Cent's real name? See, this is what I'm saying.
Curtis.
Curtis, what is it?
Something.
Yeah, Curtis. Something. I
Uh,
don't know.
so there are comments about him that he made that people are up in arm. But I think, and we're going to talk about it here in just a moment. We're going to do Black Facts. We didn't do it yesterday. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's do Black Facts. And then we come back and we'll get into some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. It's been, I'm going to tell you, I just don't know where we're headed. I just don't. I think I'm more frustrated now that I've been in a long time about the status of the black community. I really, really am. So we'll talk about that here in just a moment. Let's do Black Facts.
What is going on here?
What is your problem?
I got my 4 thank yous. I said, what I do? For that kind of comment. We don't want to hear that. Ching ching for me,
Okay.
finally. Ching ching for me.
Okay, whatever.
Stop hating.
All right, Buck Colbert B.C. Franklin is known as the lawyer who won the court victory for the black residents after the 1921 race massacre. Now, let me just say this real fast, just injecting some editorial comment. We as black people, when we refer to these killings, we should not be referring to them as riots.
What killings?
As it relates to the Tulsa race riot,
Oh, okay.
Elaine, Ocoee, all of the ones that have been documented, the general media will refer to it as a riot, which suggests that it was culpable on both sides. You understand what I'm saying? These were not riots. These were not things that were instituted by those black communities. These were massacres. They were planned. They were targeted. That was not a riot, and we need to be aware of that. So I'm glad that they pointed this out, that this was a massacre and not a riot. Franklin was born in 1879 and was named after his grandfather, who had been an enslaved African of a Chickasaw family in Oklahoma. Another point of reference. Did you get what I just read? Who had been an enslaved African of a Chickasaw family.
An Indian family?
Exactly. See, a lot of people do not know that there were quite a few Indian tribes who were slave owners.
Wow.
Really?
There were quite a few. Okay,
And this was in what area?
this was in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. Okay, after completing his studies, he opened up his law practice in the predominantly white town of Ardmore, Oklahoma. However, the racial tension at the time was so strong he decided to relocate to Tulsa and focus his practice on helping people in the black communities. The Greenwood district of Tulsa was one of the wealthiest enclaves of blacks in the nation, as well known as and was known as Black Wall Street. After the 1921 Tulsa race massacre that destroyed the district, he led the legal fight against the City Council of Tulsa, who had passed an ordinance keeping Tulsa's blacks from rebuilding the neighborhoods that had been affected. These were some low-down white folks. I'm gonna tell you, man. Look, that's my point about whether it was Democrats or Republicans, they all were culpable. Period. Franklin filed suit against the city of Tulsa before the Oklahoma Supreme Court. His efforts were successful, and due to his actions, black residents were able to begin rebuilding their community. Franklin penned the experience in an autobiography. However, he died in 1960 before the book was published. John Hope Franklin, one of his 4 children, whoa, I just learned something.
Who's that?
went on to become, listen, went on to become a prominent historian and civil rights advocate. John Hope Franklin and his son would later finish Buck Franklin's autobiography, The Life of an Era, the autobiography of Buck Colbert Franklin. And that's our black fact for today. So here's what I just learned. I have followed John Hope. I've read a lot of his writings. John Hope Franklin is a noted historian in the black community. If you're not familiar with him, you might want to go check him out. He's got some good stuff. I had no idea that he was tied by birth to someone from the Black Wall Street, from the Tulsa race riots, massacres. So that just goes to show you. Yeah, that just goes to show you that even as much history as I think I know, I'm always learning, and that's what I love about these black facts.
You learn something new
Yeah,
every day.
yeah, that's why I love. I didn't know that. And, wow, very interesting. All right, let's close it. And don't forget, if you want to sponsor Dynamic Black Facts, you can call me up at 615 554 0568, and we'll hook a brother, a sister, a company, whatever you want to call yourself, an LLC, a PLLC. We'll hook you up with some great information and spots. So, by the way, the holiday season is coming up. It's time to start advertising now. You know, particularly if you have portable items, for instance, items that you can sell through the internet. This is a great opportunity to begin advertising, so you can put that on the minds of people that, hey, they can order things from you and get it back. So just check that out. All right. So I apologize. We had originally scheduled or planned to have Terry Hollingsworth on today, and she is snowed under as it relates to the vote. So I ain't mad at her, because usually I'll say a bad word or two about guests who don't show up. So we need her counting votes, but she's supposed to be here tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to her.
Yeah, she'll be tomorrow at 12:15.
And we've got, as you know, early voting has started. Talked to a lot of people. Have either one of you voted yet? You have not? What about, do you vote, Robert?
Yeah, but I'm not voting yet.
You hadn't voted. I'm gonna try and go today, this evening. Why you say really like that?
Because she don't believe you.
I am. I'm gonna try to go this evening, and I'm gonna go to a place where they said yesterday it wasn't that crowded, so I can't divulge the name.
Is it a secret?
It is for me, because I don't want to be standing in line till 9 o'clock tonight. So, and see, I won't get a chance to go until about 4. So that's when people are getting off work, and I'm not, because if I go during the day, I work during the day. I just. So I'm gonna try to go today. Yeah. So I'm gonna try to go today, but from what I understand, just talking to friends and seeing posts on Facebook, it looks like, particularly in the black community, we turning out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
We turning out, and
I've seen some pictures and videos, and yeah,
mhm,
we out here.
yeah, someone showed the picture of the library at on Baseline,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so many people. I thought it was a concert.
Wow.
Someone showed, and then this morning, check this out. So I'm on the way into the office, and I usually leave about 6:30. So for whatever, I came up Barrow because I was going to get something to eat from where I was coming from, and the library at Barrow this morning at 6:45, it hadn't even opened, and it had at least 20 cars lined up trying to get into the library this morning at before 7.
Wow.
So people are turning out all over the country.
I love it.
This morning I was listening to MSNBC, and they had an analyst on who talked about they are seeing numbers that rival 2008 in the black and minority community. If that's the case, Trump can kiss his butt goodbye
I hope.
because they haven't. They said they haven't seen numbers that are even in 2012 when Obama ran again. Those numbers were not as high as 2008.
Wow.
So it's looked like black folks are turning out, and that's the good thing. That's the good thing, and I'm proud of them. What I would love for you guys to do when you vote, here's a. So this morning, I won't mention the name of the place, but I went to get me a sandwich, and the brother that was walking in the parking lot who worked for that particular company who took my order. Here's what I just simply asked him. I said, "Good morning, how you doing?" He took my order. I said, "You voting?" He said, "Yes, sir, I am." And then I said, "You're voting the right way, right?"
There's no right or wrong way to vote. Dad.
Okay.
Oh
And,
yeah, it is.
Y'all terrible. Y'all
I like the way you
terrible.
said that, me.
Oh, yeah.
Black king.
Y'all got issues today.
So he responded back. He said, "I'm pretty sure I know what the right way is, and you can guarantee I am."
Yeah.
And I was really proud. And he was a young brother too.
Yeah.
So I was really proud of that because there are a lot of these young brothers who aren't voting, thinking that it's not going to make any difference. But just
And it's probably not to them.
but maybe not to them, but it will make some difference possibly to friends. And it's kind of like wearing the mask. You don't wear a mask necessarily to save yourself. You wear it to protect others.
Well,
see
Dave,
what I'm
hold on,
saying?
Dave, hold on, Dave. I can't take that from you. I'm not taking that from you. You know that, right?
Why?
I don't even want to hear you talk about that. You can't talk about voting for somebody else. Don't even do that. Because you
Why?
know why? Because you just said up here last week or 2 weeks ago, I'm voting for my health care.
That's
I ain't hearing you.
I'm getting ready to.
I ain't hearing you.
That's
Scorched earth.
that's the
Scorched earth stop.
that's the point I'm getting
No.
ready to make.
No.
Before I was so rudely
I
interrupted.
can't hear you today.
The reason I made the mask analogy is because you may not be voting for yourself, but your mama, your daddy, your cousin, they might have the affordable health care. Okay? Just like I do. You're voting for me.
Robert doesn't want to hear you.
No, Dave,
No.
I'm not hearing that.
You're
today.
voting for me.
I'm not hearing
You're
you
voting
today.
for Meek over there.
Meek, I'm not
Okay?
hearing him today, Meek.
You just man, sometimes I just want to just throw up. You know what I'm
You just wanna
saying?
throw up?
Yeah, I just want to throw up in my mouth.
Are you gonna be off the chain today?
I'm never off the chain.
Really?
I apologize if y'all think that. I'm never off the chain.
You're learning him well,
Callers.
Tamika.
Somebody co-sign for me.
Yeah, you're learning him well. By the way, shout out to Memphis, Bentonville, Arkansas, Denver, Colorado, Antioch, Tennessee. That's Nashville. Bryant, Arkansas. So those are just a few people that are listening outside of the Central Arkansas area, and we appreciate that. So, what have you all been hearing about voting? People going to vote. What have y'all been hearing?
Well, I seen video and pictures of Lyman Library, and they were pretty wrapped around the building there yesterday.
Now, the Lehman Library
It's
is
North
North
Little Rock.
Little Rock. Okay, yeah, over there off of
Percy Mason.
yeah, okay. So they were pretty busy over there too.
Yeah, I think it was probably a turnout of 700. I think they said.
Well, people are voting. What about you, Robert? What are you hearing?
Well, you know me. I just took my time and I drove around to all the polling sites yesterday. And
All of them.
all of them, all throughout the county, and it was a great turnout yesterday. Honestly,
Did you really drive all
I did.
throughout the
I
county?
did. I drove throughout the county.
You know, I was
You gotta remember, they were like 6 places you can go and early vote.
No, it's actually more than that.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm being facetious.
I'm like, really?
Well, let me say this. I went to all the places in the hood where you can early vote.
That's what I wanted you to say instead of you trying to be this little smug.
Why you all over my Kool-Aid? Why you trying to stir my Kool-Aid, dude?
I
Okay.
was in the
If
hood.
you want to put
Okay.
some sugar in it, put some sugar in it. Don't try
Okay.
to stir it, though.
So,
Yeah, I went to all the early voting sites in the hood,
Okay.
in the black neighborhoods. I went to the one in Southwest.
What did it
They had
look
a
like?
line. When I went to Dunbar, they had a line. The line was actually at Chester. It had circled all the way around the building.
oh my
Chester.
gosh, really?
Yeah. Well, not when I say Chester, I mean it had looped back around.
Right, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And Southwest, their line wasn't that long, but I talked to people who said, yeah, man, the line was long. He said I came earlier. He said he came at like 11:30, 12 o'clock. He said, yeah, I just went back because it was too long. And he said it was even people sitting in their cars waiting to get in line.
Wow.
Yeah, because people were people had older people they went back and got in their cars because they didn't bring chairs. Yeah, so they were saying they were sitting down.
So, what are your thoughts? I mean, as far as, I mean, I know the pandemic has a lot to do with this early voting, but overall, I mean, is it just the pandemic or is it pod enthusiasm as well? What do y'all think?
No, I want to honestly say I think it's partly, black folks want to get rid of Trump. That's what they want to do. They want to get rid of him. They don't care about what they need. They just want to get rid of him.
See, why you have to throw that little jab in there? Okay.
So
Just because you rich and you don't have to pay for health care, some of us do.
everybody got to pay for everybody pays for
Well,
healthcare.
we need the
Everybody pays
affordable
for
health
healthcare
care.
there.
Okay.
Everybody pays for
We,
healthcare.
we need the affordable health care.
And dude, quit saying I'm rich. I am not
We-
rich.
we need-
I'm the poorest one in this room.
We need the government cheese.
I need the government cheese too. Can you give me some?
Give me cheese.
The government
Government
cheese.
too. Can you give me some?
But I'm going to be totally honest. I think for the first time since 2008, I am
Dave Brown said hush.
I am really buoyed by what I'm seeing over the last few days, and not just locally, but nationally as well. I want to say it was in Cobb County, Georgia, where this brother just rolled up in his car and jumps out and has like 8 pizzas and just started walking down the line. Open them up, people taking pieces of pizza out. It was, I mean, that was, and it wasn't, he just looked like a regular guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't look like any official guy. He had on jeans, had on a t-shirt, a white tee, jumps out, pulls the pizzas out, and just started walking down the line, and that was pretty cool. So I'm hoping that after this election, that black people will get a clue about how important this is. Because here's what I'm hoping they'll do now. I shouldn't say they, we. Because if the Democrats win, which I really believe that they are, and when you look at the Republicans jumping off the ship, when John Cornyn starts talking about, he basically said that he didn't like what Trump said or did anyway. He just didn't say anything because he felt like, and I'm paraphrasing, he felt like that it would cause more damage by making it public, which is a bunch of gobbledygook. Okay? But these Republicans are jumping off the ship. So you can usually judge by how the Republicans or Democrats, whatever it is, how they react as you get closer to the election. And it seems that the Republican Party is beginning to realize we might be in trouble. We might be in trouble. So my point in saying that is that now this is when, once that election is done, and if Biden and Harris wins, now the blacks should be turning the screws.
I agree.
Here's why, okay? Here's why. Because we know now, and they've even admitted, how important the black vote, and I say they being the Democrats, how important the black vote is to their success. See, that's why this thing with Ice Cube makes no sense. If you're planning a strategy, what he did makes no sense. Because if the Democrats win, now you go to them and say, okay, here are the numbers. We voted for you this. What's our return on our vote? And they may say, if you put us off, if you say, oh, well, whatever you say, if there is no substance to what you are going to do for the black community, now you say, all right, we're going to withhold our vote. That's how you play this game, okay? Because the die had already been cast for this election. So for O'Shea Jackson to go after the fact really was insignificant, whether it was Democrats or Republicans.
You're still on this, right? This is the thing I want to.
No. I'm not necessarily.
Oh, you
I'm
about to
just.
go in.
I'm just simply talking strategy now. Okay.
Well, I want to talk about the plan. We haven't. We've talked about Ice Cube
You
for a week,
brought up the plan. You
and
never
not
said
yet
Okay.
have we even had a discussion about either plan.
Okay. We'll talk about the plan here in a moment, but let me finish my strategy talk here, because this is what's important. Now, once whomever wins, because see, here's the thing: if the Republicans win, you still lost. They ain't got to do crap for you anyway. You see what I'm saying? They ain't got to do crap if they win. This strategy is focused on the Democrats now. Is that if they win, because 98% of black women vote Democrat. Now, it's fallen off a little bit from black men, but still, without those two segments, you're not winning this election. So it is important for the powers that be to already be planning what they're going to not ask for, but demand. There's a difference. They must demand certain concessions from the Democratic Party. One that they're talking about, and I don't know if we were talking about this yesterday or not, about there has never been a black finance. What is Steve Mnuchin's title? I want to say finance minister, but that's not it. There
Yeah, I
has
know what you're talking about.
there
I
has
think it's
there has never been a black person to sit in that seat. So one of the things, and that came from the Wells Fargo bank executive claiming that there were no black people that were eligible enough to move up the ladder at Wells Fargo. Now, think about Wells Fargo. I don't know why black folks still banking at Wells Fargo. I just don't understand that. They were the ones that was part of the student the savings and loan thing. They have been bilking black people out of money for decades. They pay millions of dollars in fines, so on and so forth. But many black people are demanding that that's a seat that they are targeting to put a black face in. And again, that's to me is a symbolic placement. We need to begin to demand substantive changes as it relates to how it's going to affect the black community. And and here's the other thing, I don't want a universal policy where it helps everybody, and then they come back and say, well, we passed, and this is what the Republicans are doing. We passed the policy, and it helped a whole lot of black people. No. I want policies that are specifically targeted for black people. Because what black people have done for the Democratic Party, we do, just like you give favors to your donors and you give favors to some of your lobbyists. Well, guess what? We want some favors. Exactly. We want some perks. And that's what we ought to be arguing for right now. So, okay, Robin, I'm done. Now, do you understand where I was going with that? Is that okay with you? Because I know you turned beet red just a minute ago. I was worried about you about to pop your top.
You're funny.
And then we'd have to paint the studio.
You're funny.
No, blood red just don't go in here.
No, actually,
Does that make sense to what I just say?
the commentary you just gave.
Yeah.
It makes sense, Dave. You know, Dave, I don't tell you this enough.
G thanks.
I don't tell you this enough, Dave, but I really appreciate you.
You do. I really appreciate.
Hell no.
I really appreciate you too, brother.
Yes, Dave, I appreciate you.
Okay,
My brother. I appreciate you, my brother.
Now, you were talking about wanting.
No, we've had a lot of commentary around what Ice Cube did, but we haven't had a lot of conversation about the plan itself.
Which plan?
Even though we did look at the plans. What, Thursday? We did a comparison of the plans, but we still haven't had a conversation about what do we think of the plan. I mean, do we think the plans are any good? We never had that conversation. I think that conversation is important. To
Okay,
have.
so let's have that conversation. Let me preface this by. Let me preface this by simply saying this: is I don't really want your handouts. I want my reparations. Okay. I'm only talking about me.
Yeah.
I'm only talking about me.
No, I understand, but I think my question is, how realistic is reparations?
But see, it may not be realistic, but
No.
it is something that has to be discussed. And let me tell you just how realistic it is. Right now in the California legislature, they are looking into how to Gavin Newsom. They are looking into how to pay reparations. So it's potentially pretty realistic. Now, where it happens as it relates to the calendar years, I don't know. But the first thing is that the conversations have got to start being had. And for the California legislature, which, you know, as California goes, the rest of the nation goes, for them to be looking into it, that says an awful lot. So that's a word that has got to be talked about regardless of who you're talking to, whether it's Democrat or Republican. Now, is it going to come through in the next year or so? Probably not. I understand that. But to me, it is something that's got to be discussed because we cannot allow the United States to continue to flip its nose when you go back and look at history of what they did to our people and the benefits that they continue to live by. We can no longer allow them to simply say, oh, well, we'll set up an empowerment zone in your neighborhood. That ain't good enough for me. I'm just saying. I need substance. I need something that's going to. It's not good enough for me to say, "Hey, well, we're going to forgive $100,000 of your student loan." Well, that sounds great for people who have $100,000 in student loans, but what is the average black family who even goes to college? That's not going to help the average black family. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
We need those are universal
So
fixes.
Kamala Harris wouldn't get reparations because she's not her family.
They're not
From
slave
the United
descendants.
States. They're not descendants of slaves. So
No.
Barack wouldn't get any. He
No,
wouldn't get any. Let me think. Who else?
I'm scared to where you're going with this. I'm worried. I mean, why would you think of Kamala Harris before? Who cares? I'm talking about.
I care because I want to make sure that I get as much as I'm supposed to get if I'm gonna get reparations.
Okay.
I don't want to split with people who don't.
So you're
Yeah,
saying?
some people got to be weeded out. It's
Oh
important.
yeah,
We
yeah,
gotta weed
yeah.
some folks
Oh
out.
yeah, they're gonna.
And if you host a radio show and your name's not Robert Webb, you don't get reparations. I just think that's important
Oh wow.
because you can't not like rappers. You can't be bougie. I think I'd like to set the criteria for this money because I'm just telling you,
You said
man.
you can't be a rapper.
You can't be a rapper hater and you can't be bougie. So Dave gets no money. Dave's moneyless.
You're really trying to push my button.
Moving right along.
Really trying to push my button today.
Moving right along.
But my point being is that that's a conversation that should be never ending until it's done. Sorry.
So you think it's likely that there will be reparations?
I think eventually it's going to have to be.
I've been thinking about us doing a political party deal.
Your thoughts?
I think it should happen.
Well, again, that's why I think this thing and that takes me back to what I was saying earlier about the Democrats, is that if the Democrats decide that, oh, we got your vote now, we don't need you, that's when you pull and go separate. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. Because I'm going to be totally honest, I don't think the Democrats are going to own up to what they're supposed to do. They are a political party.
So the Republicans are? Is that what you're saying?
No, well, obviously the Republicans ain't.
I don't think it's gonna matter one way or the other. I mean, just to be honest.
But again, you may be right, but that's why I say the black community has the Democrats now over a barrel. And if there's any good thing coming out of what the rappers have begun to say, see, what they ought to be arguing about is we want reparations, okay? But at least now the Democrats are certainly going to have to put up a shut up now,
Right.
because the volume has been turned up on, and so you look at it like this: the Republican Party is going to be destroyed if they lose, okay? Donald Trump has destroyed the Republican Party. All right. So their only hope for survival is to win, and it ain't looking good. So they're going to have to totally rebuild their party. So if you think about it from this perspective, the Democrats have got to be very, very careful because with the destruction of the Republican Party as we once knew it, those who are like those Republicans who are in the Lincoln Project and those those I want to say old school, but that's not a good adjective to describe them. But those who want to be mainstream Republicans, I guess, center right Republicans, you know, conservative but not ultra conservative. They're going to be looking for something or someone to rebrand and reestablish their party, sans all the racist and the Donald Trumpites and this, that, and the other. Now, if the Democrats fail to follow through with the black voters, that group that I just described, that's the potential of wooing black voters to them. Okay, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. Man, I'm still.
Oh, and one other point, real fast. I think also we might be witnessing the birth of a third party anyway from the Republican side because there's a huge chasm between the far rights and the center rights. And you've seen that in how many of them have talked about voting for Biden, gonna vote for Biden, so on and so forth. So I think you potentially could have a split there and have the far rights as a party and then the center rights as a party as well.
I'm far more cynical than you are. I don't see the one court issue that if you are following Republican jargon, the one issue that they are strong about is abortion. That is the big elephant in their room. They are all tied to abortion. Now, when you start talking about Republicans,
Fahim, by the way, I'm going to address what you just said here in just a moment. But go
when
ahead.
you start talking about Republicans, you have to address that point of abortion. That is like the linchpin for them. If you are for abortion, you don't get their vote, plain and simple. And so here we have Democrats who are saying we are pro-choice. People, really? I really don't see Republicans, even those center right Republicans, voting for a Democrat just based solely on that. I don't see that happening. Everybody else seems to be comfortable with it, and I think right now we're in a climate no one wants to admit that they're voting for Trump. And so we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to hear a lot of people in the next couple of weeks, and we get the numbers start coming in Tuesday night. A lot of us are going to be really disappointed because we're going to see Trump win this thing. I'm not going to say overwhelmingly, but if we look at the numbers right now, he's only up by 8. Hillary was up by 5. He's only up by 8.
But when you look
with a 3% margin of error.
But when you look inside the numbers, it's totally different, as we've discussed over and over.
But it depends on who you. But see, this is the thing, Dave. It depends on who they are going out to sample. Republicans, they don't sample a lot of Republicans.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't, Dave.
Yeah, they do.
They tell you they don't call a lot of Republicans.
Okay, here's what I say about looking inside the numbers. Okay. If you take the same numbers today as it was in 2016 with Hillary, they're totally different. They talked about this.
Explain.
And I've talked. And I was watching yesterday, and they were talking about this thing yesterday. The one thing that stands out is that at this time, the likability of Hillary Clinton, at this time in 2016, was the same as Donald Trump's, the exact same. I think they said it was like 46% likable. The likability for Joe Biden right now, according to that poll, is 52. Okay, so the and there were other numbers that they pointed to is because you're not the only one that Democrats are scared too because they're looking back and seeing what happened with Hillary, but then when they look inside because when you analyze the numbers, you say, okay, well, how was it that she was up but end up losing that race and realized she won the popular vote. She just didn't win certain states, okay? when they looked inside the numbers, not likability, there was other categories that they looked at. Biden is leading Trump on all of those, whereas Hillary was either tied or below Trump when you look inside the numbers. So
Okay.
that's all I'm saying.
You're talking. I get what you're talking about. You're talking about the likability factor and all that stuff, and I'm not disagreeing.
One of many.
I'm not
Okay.
disagreeing with that. But my point is that there are a ton of people who supported Trump who still support Trump.
Yeah, I know.
Regardless, because again,
Some of your golfing buddies.
They buy into all of the conspiracy theories around the coronavirus.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who are
Those are
supporting him.
nutbags.
There are a lot of people who support him. I think another thing is you got a lot of people who are disillusioned with the Democratic Party, black men in particular. And if you go out and look at some studies, you'll see that it's showing that a lot of black males, Dave, with strong testosterone, are not voting Democratic. They're voting third party, or they're not voting in the presidential election.
And some of them are voting for Trump.
That's strong, Dave. That's really strong. And I think the Democratic Party at some point they're going to ask themselves a question: do we want that black male vote?
That was part of that discussion that I was talking about earlier when I said that if the Democrats win, this is the time to stick the screws to them. Okay?
Because they're gonna come to y'all and say, "Nah, listen,
Well-
I know what y'all need, but right now
Well,
we
if
just can't
well,
do it because we got to get this Corona thing under
well,
control."
if we allow that to happen, then that's on us.
Yeah, you gonna allow it
You
to
know,
happen because you're gonna be too busy to focus
Look,
on Ice Cube.
you negotiate against an opponent from equal power, and when that person acknowledges that they need you, that's when you turn up the power. So
Well, we already know they need
okay,
us.
but that's my whole point about strategy. We don't have a strategy to turn the power up. You see what I'm saying? We don't have
I don't disagree with that.
that's what I'm
That
saying.
was a black male voter project.
Yes, I think that's a Republican thing too. But that's what I'm saying, Robert, is that we got them over a barrel right now. We got them over a barrel. They'll never admit it, but if we put this thing together and okay, they win because if we go by the numbers, the way they're saying, Democrats they're gonna win Congress. They're gonna win the Senate. The Senate. That's why all of those senators are running away from Trump right now.
You think we talked about this other day, Dave. So I was reading something yesterday. There's a 25% chance for the Democrats, 25% chance for Republicans, and there's a 50% chance there'll be no majority. That's what they're saying right now.
But see, here's the great thing about it. Remember we talked about
That's
that.
in the House.
Even if it's
In the
in the Senate, yeah, they're not going to turn the House. They're like 140 some seats down. That's just not going to happen. The Republicans. But here's the thing about the Senate, though. Even if it's a 50-50 split, who breaks the tie? The vice president.
You're making the assumption that the vice president will be Kamala and not Pence.
Well, that's true, but I'm making the assumption based on the numbers that. And by the way, they showed this guy who had called every election correct. I want to say since Reagan, and he actually says Biden is going to win. He's never missed a call. Okay.
That's what they're saying. Did he call Trump last year?
Yes. Did you not hear what I just said? He's
What
called
is he-
every
what is he,
election
political analyst?
some type of political analyst. I think it's on CNN. I think I read it either this morning
So
or yesterday.
the guy you're talking about, he called for Hillary last year. He called for Hillary to win last year.
No, not what I read this morning.
You should reread it.
Not what I.
Another guy you're talking about, he called for Hillary
Okay,
to win.
well, I could be mistaken.
And
Let me address this thing with.
and he was saying that he was really disappointed because everything lined up for Hillary.
Right, and then
Just
the other
like
thing,
everything's lined up
we
for Biden.
know in statistics, they're called statistical anomalies. We know that happens. I tend to believe that election was an anomaly. We'll see whether or not that's proven out or not.
If it happens again, would you think it's an anomaly then?
If it happens again, it won't be an anomaly. it already suggests to me the tenor of the American people, but how those numbers fared out,
Right.
those are the anomalies that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay, all right, okay. So you made a comment about Kamala Harris doesn't get reparations.
Right.
All right, and Fahim said all people of African descent uh, are entitled.
No.
Hang on, just listen. Pan Africanism. Let's see here. Let's go back. Pan Africanism is the key. It says stop the ADOS nonsense. So I understand what you're saying, and I understand what he's saying.
I disagree totally for him.
Okay. So what do you mean? Because I think I understand what he's. I know I understand.
If your ancestors were not slaves in the United States, you don't get reparations.
Exactly.
Plain and
I
simple.
agree with you.
Plain and simple.
What he's saying, I believe, is that every person of African descent. Let's just listen before you start shaking your head. Every person of African descent deserves reparations, but your point is that the ones that were suffered from slavery in the United States are the only ones who will get reparations from the United States. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
So if her folks are from Jamaica, or I forgot, she's from one of the Caribbean islands, whoever, and I think it was the British at the time, whoever was responsible for slavery in that area, that's where your reparations come from. Does that make sense for him? I don't think Robert. Every person of African descent, you're right, deserves reparations because we all suffered under that rule, or our ancestors did. But the United States, like they paid reparations to Israel under the Obama administration, still hadn't figured that one out yet. Okay, we should not be. Yeah, all of y'all got that little strange dog look.
Really?
Y'all didn't know that?
I did not.
Yeah.
Once again,
Don't, Robert. Be nice.
I didn't say anything.
So,
Again, what?
so what I agree with both of y'all, and both of you all are right. Is yeah, but as it relates to reparations from America, people who suffered under the American slave trade are the people who deserve reparations from our Treasury Department.
Except for him, I don't disagree. I don't agree with him, and I strongly disagree with
You
him.
just trying to start something. I just said both of y'all are right. Why you are
I
just
hope you heard me for him. I strongly disagree.
gosh.
Come fight me.
Y'all are so funny.
So, but there, and I understand this ADOS, African descendants of slavery. By the way, the bottom line is this: is that I'm concerned about reparations as it relates to the African American community in America, not what happened in Jamaica or the Trinidad. I'm not or Haiti. I'm not being selfish. And by the way, the British government is doing some reparations already as it relates to some of those people. So we'll see how it goes, but that's the whole point, that the tenor about reparations around the world has ratcheted up over the last 3 to 4 years. Okay? And it needs to ratchet up. It needs to ratchet up here in America, because this is a country who the American slave trade was probably one of the worst in the history. And this country has never even offered an apology for black people to say, I'm sorry. Even Obama, I'd love Obama to death. The first thing he should have did was, hey, look, we as American people, as president, we're issuing an official apology for slavery. I don't understand why he didn't do that. I just don't understand that. Okay? And certainly you say, well, okay, he got elected. He couldn't have did it in the first term. But in the second term, you were a lame duck. You see what I'm saying? You could have done it easily in the second term, and you didn't do it in the second term. You know, and if I had to sit down with Obama and ask him a question, that would be one of the questions I would ask him. Why didn't you at least offer an official apology to African American descendants for slavery? Why didn't you just at least do that? Now, some have argued that in part because many of the presidents don't want to do it because if you offer that apology, then that says that you are culpable and that opens the doors for litigation. But I think you can counter that by saying, we are sorry and this is what we're going to do for reparations. That's just me, you know. So, and as I've said, I don't necessarily want you to give me money. I want you to give me enough money where I can get a non-interest bearing loan so I can start my business the way I need to run it. Okay? That's what I want. Now, everybody's different. You know, giving everybody a check, that doesn't work for everybody. You know, I'd like to have, and that's where you have leaders who sit down and talk about these issues. So when it even comes up on the table, you have a plan. You know what I'm saying? You just don't say, let me get back to you on that. That's all I'm saying.
Dave, you're a cool piece, man. You know what? At this point, man, I am really just ready for this whole thing to be over with. I just want it over. I don't really care anymore. I don't really care about the campaign, about the election.
Okay.
I just want it to be over one way or the other. At this point, I really don't even care who wins. I just want it over with. I just want it over with because it's gotten to a point. It's just all nonsense, right? I just want it over with. Yeah, I just want it over with.
Spoken like a true Republican.
A black man can't be a Republican, Dave. A black man can't be a Democrat unless they create the slave party. Enslaved party. If they create the enslaved party, I can be down with that.
So, do you not golf with any Democrats? I know you golf with a lot of Republicans.
I golf with Democrats, Dave.
I know you got Ace on speed dial. You know.
Don't have Ace on speed dial.
What, he changed his number on you?
You're a cold piece.
So, but no, I think this is.
I mean, honestly, aren't you kind of getting tired of all this?
Man, every 4 years I get sick of elections. I really wish that I'm going to be totally honest with you. I wish they would just simply elect a president for 8 years and be done with it. I really do. Extend his tenure just like you did some of the senators and the representatives, because this every 4 years is. I mean,
this is when.
Have to have another 4 years of Trump.
This is when I was done. When I read this morning that AgBlue has raised $1.2 billion.
What is AgBlue?
AgBlue is the processing center for the Democratic Party. When you make a donation to a Democratic candidate, it goes through AgBlue. And AgBlue announced today. Well, not today. I read it. Yeah, I read it yesterday. So maybe they put it up on Friday. But to that point, they had raised $1.2 billion.
Well, you know where the
Are
most
they
of that. You know where most of that money's coming from, right? That's dark money.
No, that's through AgBlue. So if you go through AgBlue, that's not dark money. That was not dark. Because if you go through AgBlue, you actually have to put your name and all that in there. So that's not, unless they're just putting it in there with different folks' names. But
that's what Sheldon Whitehouse was talking about in the Judiciary Committee, that you go back and look at that. You really need to go and look at that.
And what'd you send it to me on?
Just go look up Sheldon Whitehouse and Judiciary Committee.
Now, I stopped reading the paper. I'm not taking in any information. I'm not trying to receive anything about campaigning or anything
No.
about politics right now.
Oh, well, so, okay.
Because honestly, I am so tired. I'm so tired. Even my podcast, I switched over from listening to political podcasts to now I'm listening to sports podcasts. I'm tired of politics right now. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired.
I really don't blame you.
And especially after this Ice Cube thing. And then last night after reading these Twitter things on Twitter, I was thinking to myself last night, reading these responses on Twitter, I was thinking to myself.
What about Curtis Jackson?
Curtis Jackson. Oh, I didn't see. I haven't seen anything, and I don't want to see it. I was reading these comments on Ice Cube, and this is the one that got me right.
Ice Cube. Who was Ice Cube?
Oh,
Osha Jackson.
This is
Okay.
the one that got me. Somebody said, "We got real problems out here. We need somebody to be talking about it." Well, that's what the dude was doing. What the hell is wrong with you? That's what I was like. You know what? Some people just ignorant. I'm just not even entertaining this no more.
But
I can't entertain it no more.
But that's the point that there are many people are making about O'Shea Jackson, is that he's acting like people have not already been talking about those issues. That's the point.
No. He. So this is where I think the brother was coming from. So we have people talking, having conversations, right? You have people having conversations, but they're not having conversations about the issues that matter. And some of us feel that way. I'm one of those guys. I think that people are not having conversations about
But the
issues
stuff
that
in
matter.
his contract for Black America is the very same stuff that the Congressional Black Caucus and in the Biden
But what have the
plan.
Congressional Black Caucus done to make some of this come to fruition?
But how was O'Shea Jackson is going to make it come to fruition?
Well, maybe his thing was he wanted to have a conversation.
The
Sometimes it just
conversation
makes
has
you feel
already
good to
been
have a
happening.
conversation.
Has been happening.
Where?
Clearly, it has been because of all those documents that he borrowed his information. Let me take that back.
borrowed.
Let me
I was
say,
gonna say plagiarized.
he plagiarized his information from.
You know
Hey,
what?
we got to go to break. We'll talk about this more.
I don't want to talk politics. I want to talk about cheese.
All right, good.
Cheese.
We'll talk about cheese when we get
All
back.
right, good. Talk about some cheese.
We'll be back in a moment. I'm thinking about making homemade mozzarella, by the way. I'm glad you brought that up.
I want to talk about that cheese.
I'm hungry.
I'm Deacon Andy Anderson, a retired war veteran, and I support Shanice Johnson.
I'm Gwendolyn Cobbs. I'm a registered nurse, and I support.
So
Shawnee's
while we're in the break, so what I'm gonna do is our website is not a website, but the email is blackfocusradio@juno.com. Not Juno, boy, I'm old. I say Juno. Y'all don't even know nothing about Juno, do you? Juno.
I'm Shawnee's Johnson.
At gmail.com. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you the password to the website. Okay. Just don't be flirting with any of your little men or anything on the email. Have them send you love letters and stuff like that. Oh, Tumbiko. Oh. But there is once you log in, there's a calendar. And I'll show you how to just update the calendar. So what our responsibility will be that every time we get a guest, we're supposed to go in and update that calendar. I do so much IT stuff that it just slips my mind. So that's what I'll call you. Hey, can you update the calendar and put so and so in there, so and so time, and that way we'll keep it up to date because that's important for us to do that.
No, one more thing. So if I get the flu shot, that won't stop me from getting COVID-19?
Correct. Flu shot can protect you from the flu.
Man, I'm hungry.
Develop symptoms of COVID-19 like fever, dry cough, shortness of breath. Call your doctor. Find out if you should get tested. For more ways you need to protect yourself and your family from COVID-19.
Yeah,
Visit ARMinorityHealth.com. Arkansas Minority Health Commission. Your health,
Cases
our
are
priority.
just going up.
I'm Tommy Branch Jr. and I
Yeah, I know.
Tommy Branch
I
Jr.
talked to my son this morning.
Zone 3. Growing up, my parents who were
And
pastors taught me the value of working
initially,
hard
I
and
had planned to
striving
go
for
to
success.
Baltimore
I
for
saw my parents
Thanksgiving.
fight for people that could not fight for themselves,
But
and
I
followed in their
told him
footsteps. I'm a proud
this
father.
morning
Two
I may
beautiful
not
kids, one
be
which is
coming.
still in elementary school. As a
I
father,
haven't
I
totally
support
decided yet. I'm gonna
where
decide in
many
2
of the
weeks.
challenges that face our kids
But I'm
today. This
concerned.
pandemic has
I don't want to be on a plane.
throughout our school district. Your vote on November the 3rd. I will help with bridging the
Right.
gap for
I
youth
don't want to
with
be on a
learning
plane.
disabilities. I will make sure that we honor and
It's too
show
far to
more
drive.
appreciation for our teachers and
So
paraprofessionals
I'm
by
not gonna
seeking more pay
drive.
for them. I will help by
And
expanding the opportunities in the area of the arts and sciences. I will help to expand on providing safe learning environments for all of our students. On November 3rd, I ask for your vote to
Yeah.
continue to make Little
I'm
Rock a
I'm
great
scared.
place
I just
to work, live, and be
I mean, I don't have the comorbidities that you have, but still, I'm 60 years old, you know, and I'm concerned about it altogether. And I'm listening to the doctors. You know, unlike many people who are listening to the idiot in the White House, I'm listening to the doctors. And, you know,
Got some people out here that's just fearless about
right. And then just last week, I had another friend to die, a close friend, you know, Mark Fields, that I played football with, who died of COVID. So that's two that I know that I grew up with, that we're friends. So it's a concern for me. And as I talked to him, he said, Dad, he said, if you don't feel safe coming, don't come. You know, so I'm concerned because, you know, like you say, there's a spike that's happening right now. There's a spike that's happening. So,
it. Like the cases go up daily. That is just crazy to me.
and then you got the idiot in chief running around dogging Dr. Fauci, and oh, it's just, man, I don't understand how anyone can support this guy. It's even beyond policy now. I mean, at some point, you got to be done with stupidity and ignorance. It just don't make any sense. All right, welcome back to the show, Black Focus Radio, St. Paul, Minnesota, Bessemer, Alabama. I see you. Detroit, Michigan. Good morning and welcome to the weekly
Bessemer, Alabama.
Bessemer, Alabama.
Bessemer, that's deep. Damn,
Yeah,
it's south.
yeah, Bessemer,
I'm
Alabama.
surprised they even got internet.
Yeah, see why you gonna insult our listeners?
That was not an insult. That was just a comment. I'm surprised they had the internet down there.
Wow. Well,
Have you ever
Detroit.
been to
Having
Bessemer?
internet.
No, I try to
You ever
avoid.
been to Bessemer? You don't know what I mean.
The closest I've probably been is when I went to Pensacola, because I try to avoid the redneck Riviera as much as possible.
Redneck Riviera, I like that.
Yeah, that's what they call
What were
it.
you doing, Robert?
Huh?
What were you doing there?
What was I doing there? I was down there getting some cotton.
Oh, okay.
For your new T-shirts.
Yeah. Getting me
Okay.
some cotton.
Okay. But no, I have an idea what Bessemer is. But
Yeah,
although
yeah,
there's
little parts of Bessemer.
but I there are a couple of states that I really try to avoid if I can, and you can probably name them. Take a guess. What do y'all think they are?
Mississippi.
There you go, Mississippi. I try to avoid Mississippi. Okay. I know some great people from Mississippi, but I do not do. The only thing I do in Mississippi is go to Tunica. I do not.
Alabama?
And I'll be honest, I will tell you that Biloxi, Mississippi is fantastic.
I hear.
It really
That's where I'm
is,
gonna be
especially since they did the casinos. And each time I've went, I've had a great time at the
Air Force
casinos.
Base there, too.
Yeah, and then a lot of people don't realize. I believe it was Biloxi that started Mardi Gras.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
And they have a beach.
yep. It's and the one of their hotels, it sits right on the beach, and if you get the right room, it has this gigantic picture window, and it just looks right out over the ocean. It is fantastic. And when the moon is setting, oh Lord. So I had a great time in Biloxi. But that area, Pensacola, I love Pensacola. It's a nice area. But that little stretch, I'm sorry. When I used to commute from Memphis to Alabama, I think I used to take 72 that would take us through Mississippi, through Alabama, and then you take 20 east up to Atlanta. I would always make sure that I never stopped in Mississippi. For if I had to pee, I was going to go to the next state. I'm serious. I was not spending one dime, and I hated. I always had to stop in Alabama. So I had to make a choice: either stop in Birmingham or stop in Mississippi. So I chose Birmingham as opposed to anything in Mississippi. That's just me, and that's not an insult to, because I have a lot of dear friends from Mississippi, but for as the state as a whole, and no offense, Mississippians, I ain't for y'all. I mean, when they play in any sport, I'm hoping they lose.
Hey, Dad, I'm looking at these pictures you posted on Facebook when you went fishing.
Hmm.
Why you ain't throw them fish back, man? Them fish so little. Why you ain't throw them fish back, man?
What are you talking about?
Man, y'all the pro
Man,
fishermen, man. You disappoint me
I would
greatly.
hate.
man, we called those fish were.
Man, throw them fish back.
Look,
Man,
the
by the time you fry them fish up, man, you couldn't. You can't. Only thing you can eat them on is a cracker.
well, then there'll be hors d'oeuvres.
No.
Okay, there'll be hors d'oeuvres. Okay, the limit is 10 inches for crappie, and they were 10 inches. Thank you, sir. Gosh, I know what your problem is. But anyway, 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us if you want to join the show. We got let's see, we got people tagging us. I'll look in to see what they're talking about.
They're gonna turn the mics off on Trump in the next debate. They're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
turn the mic
oh
off on
yeah.
both of them.
So here's what's going to happen, and which I think, they acted like this was so hard to do. I mean, all you got to do is turn the mics off, and so they're going to the 2-minute segments. The mics will be off, but the back and forth they will be on. But here's the problem: it's not going to matter with Trump. You don't think it's for instance. People can hear you through my mic. You get my point?
Yeah.
So even if they turn the mics off, that doesn't mean that he's still not going to be up there acting a fool. And it's pretty clear now that his whole shtick is to be as outlandish as he possibly can.
No, I agree with that completely.
That's his whole shtick. And watching some of the things that he did last night at that rally that he had, he's performing.
No, I mean I totally agree.
You
with
see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, I totally
So and I'm beginning to believe some who are saying that he's purposely not trying to win this election.
I don't blame him. He got everything set up now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm beginning to believe that he's purposely not trying to win this election. He doesn't want to. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I believe that.
So, because come on, some of the stuff is so beyond the pale, it's ridiculous. I mean, and I think a lot of the people that are in the audience, that old saying, they're not laughing with you, they're laughing at you. People are going to these events to be entertained. Now, you might come home with COVID-19, but that's okay. It's kind of like going to see Prince. At least I got to see Prince. I got to see him. So I would not be surprised but see, here's his problem. He also said in one of his town halls that he's going to, if he loses, he might leave the country. That was curious. Where would he go? Because you do realize that there are a whole lot of people. The Southern District of New York, the Attorney General, he about to get his clock clean.
You think so?
That's why he's desperate. That's why many people believe that's why he's so desperate to win re-election. He can hopefully put off those prosecutions and at least run out the clock as far as the statute of limitations are concerned. Okay? If he loses, then it's going to bring to bear all of that stuff that he's been trying to hide. Because, see, right now, according to his Attorney General, Bill Barr, you cannot indict a sitting U.S. president. Right. Even if, and to me, that just seems so weird. So what you're saying is that, and using his words, if he shot someone on Fifth Avenue while he's president, now he didn't say while he was president, but if he shot someone on Fifth Avenue while president, are you saying to me that he cannot be indicted? See how weird that sounds?
Yeah, I think if you do something like that, but I mean, as far as other stuff,
a crime is a crime is a crime.
Well, no, if you break election law, they're probably not going to prosecute you till after the election.
But okay, I'll give you that, but still, the thing about the Stormy Daniels thing, the thing about you know the
But I thought those
oh,
things
that
were
reminds
I
me.
thought those things were unethical
Well,
and not illegal.
well, it depends on how you look at it.
Well-
Did you when you were being investigated, did you lie to the FBI, which is what many of them have done. So you've got a nonprofit that was shut down because they found out that you were funneling campaign funds illegally from the nonprofit to your campaign. So those things all will be addressed. So my point being is that he's talking about going to another country. If I were him, I'd make sure that he was going to go to some place that doesn't allow extradition. Because they're gonna go after him. The Southern District of New York, that's the one court body that has not been taking any mess. As a matter of fact, Eric Trump just got deposed about a week ago. Okay, so they're not playing. That's the one that's led by that sister. She ain't playing, bro. She ain't playing. And see, here's the other thing. The attorney general has no say in that because those are state crimes. You get that, right?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
So those are state, he can't run from state crimes. The attorney general, while he's in power, he can write those federal crimes off. But the state crimes,
I said state crimes don't go.
he can't write those off. That's the whole point. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing continues to move forward. I think if nothing else, all the things that he's set up, and then we don't even know all the stuff about the Deutsche Bank as of yet. We still don't know, although he was talking about he only holds $400 million in debt. There are people who are saying that he owes close to $1 billion in debt. And who are the holders of those loans? Are they Russian oligarchs? See, all that stuff is just now beginning to come out, and we'll see how it plays out over the next few weeks. That's what's going to be fascinating to me. I think if he loses, he's going to employ a scorched earth policy. He's going to raise so much hell, it's going to be pathetic. That's why I'm
Wouldn't
telling
you?
people.
If you could, would you employ? I mean, honestly, let me ask you a question. If you had the opportunity, would you not employ some of these tactics that Trump is employing?
Nah.
If you had the,
This guy has no morals. I don't want to be. I don't want any of my actions ever associated with someone like Donald Trump. This guy has no morals. I mean, you can. I heard I heard someone say the other day that he lies. He lies more than he breathes. Now that's cold.
Really?
That's cold. When you lie more than you breathe,
Oh man.
you know, that's cold. And I don't want people to know that, well, at least not be able to trust that what I say is true. And this guy has no morals as it relates to that. Right. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting moving forward here, and I think if Biden wins, if the Democrats win, they're gonna spend the first. You know, you have this transition of power. Who in the Republican Party that's on this staff that you would want to keep? Think about that. Who would you want to keep?
Hope Hicks.
Hicks is fly.
Okay, why did you say Hope Hicks? I'm just curious. See?
Did I say that?
You know who she's married to, right?
Who?
And she married to Stephen Miller,
Who's Stephen Miller?
the pencil neck geek who formed the policy. You will not deny the president. You will listen to him. You remember Stephen Miller, the guy who fashioned the policy about the kids in the cages.
Oh yeah.
I believe she's married to. I think
didn't
she
think
is.
was married.
Yeah, I think she is.
Have you seen? I didn't think she was married. Have you seen Chris Rock and Chris Rock and Bernie Mac in the movie Chris Rock played in when he ran for president?
Yeah, what's the name of that? I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm
I
just
thought that was I thought Hope Hicks that was her role.
see, moving right along. Good movie, funny movie by the way. I love me some B Mac too. But the point is that
I'm just kidding, and that was I
no,
shouldn't have said
see, you
that. I
said
was
it.
just kidding, Mom. That was a joke. I was kidding, and it was a poor attempt at a joke.
But think
Poor
about
attempt
it.
at levity.
Typically, when you transition from one administration to the other, there's usually some, you know, as Obama left the workbook or whatever they want to call it about potential pandemics and what you need to do. Typically, you work with the old administration and the new administration to have a good transition of power. I don't see that happening. And if I'm Joe Biden, I can just see him standing at the door with the door open on the West Wing, pointing like, "Get the hell out of chill." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm already imagining memes on Facebook kicking him out of the White House. So Biden is going to have to spend a lot of time rebuilding the infrastructure. Look at how they've devastated the Justice Department. They've devastated the FBI. You know, they basically built this. The Justice Department and the FBI is either you with Trump or you're not. You don't need that in a Justice Department. You've got him wanting them to arrest Biden in the next 2 weeks. This guy's lost. He's lost his mind. He is that crazy uncle. It's pretty clear. And it's funny when his niece, when that was said, the niece posted, from what I understand on Twitter, yeah, he is that crazy
Well,
uncle.
his solution to everything is just try to eliminate you. Either
Right.
he's gonna fire you or sue you or
Right.
something like that.
And that's what he said about Fauci. He wants to fire Fauci. But here's the killer part. Fauci's approval rating is 25% higher than his. People believe Fauci before they believe Donald Trump. He said yesterday that I want to fire Fauci, and I'm paraphrasing, but it would be a bomb, meaning that I fire Fauci now, I'm really in hot water. You see, because the doctor that he has that is talking about, that is leading the charge now, this guy's not even an epidemiologist. So last week he said that don't wear a mask. You know what Twitter and Facebook did, didn't you? Twitter and Facebook went out and deleted that text.
Really?
Okay? Dr. Birx, the woman who was working with Fauci, she came out and said, I am so thankful that they did that.
Yeah.
Okay? So you got a guy who's not an epidemiologist walking around talking about the policy as it relates to COVID. And it's just mind-boggling to me. And that's why I don't understand some of the American people. At some point, your mind has got to kick in and say, wait a minute, this dude crazy.
Right.
I ain't following him anymore. This dude crazy.
But I mean, nobody's thinking that. I mean,
I know.
nobody's thinking he's crazy, especially Republicans. But Republicans they're all in.
Well, no, they're not now. They're jumping the ship. That's what I'm saying. John Cornyn.
Come election day, that's when I know they jump ship.
Well, we'll see.
Because
I would've
election
jumped
night.
when I would have got corona from Trump.
Right. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, he gave you look, Chris Christie. Ain't no reason why Chris Christie should be voting for Trump. He laid up in ICU for 7 days.
Man.
For 7 days.
You know, he went to ICU.
Yeah, he was in ICU for 7 days. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever why any of these people, and that's what I don't understand, is that I understand loyalty to party. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a relationship. That, yeah, I'm going to be loyal to that relationship. But there are some things that I'm just not going, right. I'm not going to tolerate. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, what things? Are
Donald Trump is the spouse abuser, and his spouse is the Republican Party, and he abuses them on a regular basis. And not only that, he abuses their friends. Their friends being the Democratic Party. Either you're for me or against me. Anyone who has that mentality has no business running a country. Has no business.
But that's a politician. That's how they are.
No, they're not like that.
The hell if they not?
They're not.
That's
like
how they
that.
are.
They don't get where have you seen where any politician, and I know there might be anomalies, but
is he a
public.
true politician?
Well, good point.
Who's
Good
a true
question.
politician?
Trump. He's an
Y'all
opportunist.
seem to have these. Y'all seem to have these antiquated views about politics and politicians. Politicians they are very much let me get even, because that's what you have to do in that game, because you want everybody to know you don't cross me.
All right, so name one politician of national origin that has played the game that Trump's playing.
Well, the thing is that they're probably not playing the game like Trump, and nobody's really taking notice of it, Dave. But yeah, Dave, these people are, hey, you got to be down with me, because if you ain't down with me, you gone from me. That's the game.
Well, thanks for that update, Rod. Appreciate it.
I'm sorry to bust your bubble.
You really make the American people look forward to what's coming up. You know, I'm just saying. I'm just simply saying this, man. By the way, Melania Trump is supposed to be hitting the campaign trail. I wonder what she's gonna say. Be pissed.
You got
Did
issues.
they give an update on her recovery? She had corona too, right?
Well,
Nobody had corona. Stop this.
No,
I'm not even entertaining this.
and that's right. I don't think Trump had corona. That's a good point. That's something I meant to bring up yesterday. It's pretty clear he didn't have it. Mm-hmm. Now, the fact that he's playing Russian roulette and I don't think he had the took remdesivir. As I said, over the weekend there was I don't know if I said this on the show yesterday, but over the weekend there was a study in Britain. They've been using remdesivir as a therapeutic, and they found out that particular drug does little or nothing to keep people from dying from COVID-19. So many people believe that the reason Trump was touting remdesivir, and if you go back and you look at the stock prices prior to him saying remdesivir, as opposed to what it was after, many people believe that he had stock in remdesivir, and it increased the stock. But I don't think he had COVID-19 because, you know, they're proving now that remdesivir is not some miracle drug. So y'all can believe. Look, here's the bottom line with me, with Trump. I don't believe he says, and I'm being kind. It's almost to the point. I keep using the analogy. When I know you're a liar, I can't listen to you. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with you because I can't trust you. To me, a liar is the. I put a liar and a thief on the same level. That's just me, because they're all working with deception. And when you deceive people, I think that's a much more serious thing, because in order for you to deceive someone, that means at some point they have had to trust you. You get my point?
I'm with you.
So if you deceive my trust, and if you think about it, maybe not Robert, but I think we've all had a heart broken or been deceived by a person that we thought was our person, our love of our life. And there's nothing that person can do. Even if you get back together, in the back of your mind, you still feel that deception. It's never the same. And with this guy, He's a deceiver. He's the worst of the worst. I just can't deal with that.
Do you feel deceived by Democrats, Dave? Do you have the same feeling toward Democrats?
We're not talking about Democrats right now.
I just asked a question, Dave. I'm just asking a question. That's all.
We're talking about Trump.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought we were talking about politicians in general.
Well,
I didn't know we were singling Trump out.
Well, I'm talking about Trump
Because right now,
if you want to talk bad about the Democrats, you can go right ahead.
Right now, we should be charging the Democratic Party. They should be paying us a fee for all the Trump hate you spearing on our radio show today.
Okay.
Are you getting a Democratic Party check? Should I call talk to WJ?
Yeah.
I mean, not WJ, but John Michael.
Who is John
Michael John, I mean. He's over the DPA.
He's the guy who was afraid to come on the show.
Yeah, he was.
Mm.
I'm not gonna say the guy was afraid. I don't know what his rationale was for not.
But again,
but
that's a classic example of what I was talking about earlier.
What's that?
Is that he should have had his ass on this show. Period. You respect our vote. You respect our voice. You should have been here. So now, after this election, if y'all win, try that. Try that.
You mean tell him to come back?
Yes, try that. And don't show up. Okay? That's what I'm saying about holding them accountable.
You a cold piece of work.
See, this is how you do. This is how
that's why I love you.
you know.
That's why I love you.
Try that now. Y'all win this election? No, bro, when I call you, I need you to come on the show. I don't need no excuses. Because if you don't, I'm bringing the fire.
You a cold piece of work.
And that's what I'm saying overall about the black community and the Democratic Party. You got their butts over a barrel right now, and you just lit the flame.
You a cold piece of work, black man.
You see.
You a cold piece of work.
That's why if you strategize this thing out, we got them over the barrel right now. They can no longer go and say, "Oh."
1 second, Dave. Who's gonna be the one to do that? Who's gonna be the one to lead the charge on that? I'm ready.
I can do it.
Well, they've been looking at your background, and they said they don't want a chef.
You know, so but
They said they don't want a chef. So who you got?
What about you, Robert?
Nah, I'm not doing it
Why not?
because I don't want any parts of politics.
Well, we just the only person we got left is
Tamika, what's your excuse?
For what?
Lord have mercy, we's in trouble.
that reminds me. I just remember this is from the story of the weird.
Okay.
Have you heard about Jeffrey Toobin?
What happened with Jeffrey Tubin?
Do you know who Jeffrey Toobin is?
Yeah, the interview guy does interviews on radio. Yeah,
That's been
reporter.
just worked for the New Yorker, has done a lot of writing. Let me just read this headline to you. Jeffrey Toobin suspended from New Yorker, on leave from CNN after he exposes himself on a Zoom call.
Did you say exposes itself?
Now, when I saw the story yesterday,
Was it accidental? Was he like sitting there in his top?
just listen.
Okay.
When I saw the story yesterday, now CNN is being kind, okay? The story I saw yesterday said that he was actually pleasing himself.
Oh no. Wow.
COVID would do that to you.
That's the story I saw yesterday.
He was working?
Yeah, he was working. Got me
Y'all got
working
something.
day and night.
OMG.
Okay.
Y'all got issues.
He said, I made an embarrassing, stupid mistake believing I was off camera.
Oh my goodness.
So he will never work again.
Somebody give him a shot.
You had one job.
Somebody give him a shot.
So I just thought
My brother just can't even enjoy himself
that's
in peace anymore. So he thought the camera was off.
Apparently so.
Clearly.
So what, like was it pointed toward his couch, or was he just sitting at his desk?
I don't know.
Like, that's
I
what I'm
just-
trying to think. Like, why would you do that?
So I don't know.
He had to think that the camera was off.
So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
but I mean, look,
There you're bold.
I love Jeffrey Tubin. He does a lot of great work, but
Wow.
dude, really? So, which also brings me to the story, a sad story where I don't know if y'all saw that, where the little 7-year-old girl was being sexually molested while she was on Zoom in school.
What?
7-year-old girl was sexually molested by her uncle, if I remember correctly, and it was on the Zoom. Exactly. Exactly. And just like I was telling you earlier about the lady who found out her husband was cheating on him, she asked for a divorce, and he decided to come home and shot her and killed her. Shot her 10 times. This happened a couple of days ago.
That was on Zoom too?
No, it wasn't on Zoom, but it happened a couple of days ago. I mean, a lot of these people have just simply lost their minds, man. I'm convinced. You know, I'm convinced. It's what I was saying earlier at the top of the hour, which I want to swing back to, is for the first time, I think, in a long time, I'm concerned on where America is going. I'm concerned where the black community is going. When you look at the people that we are identifying as our so-called leaders now, I just,
Dave, will you stop, please?
I'm concerned.
Please, Dave. You're making my butt hurt.
No,
You really are.
TMI, Robert.
'Cause
TMI. You need some
you're really
Pepto
concerned
Bismol.
about who our leaders are.
I am. I've always been concerned, but even more so now than I've ever been in a long time. It just. What is this? Why did you just post this cartoon? Okay, but I just and that brings me to what I want to that someone posted last night, that to my point about our leadership and what Ice Cube them are doing. Because look, I applaud anyone who is trying to better the black community.
You can't, because you said that you've been abusing Ice Cube the whole time.
Well, he needs to be abused.
And the brother just want to see a better
Robert,
community. I
did
get
we
that.
not yesterday on the show go through a full accounting of why he's doing this, and clearly he has an ulterior motive? Did we not do that? Did we? Huh?
No.
You don't think the ulterior motive of him having that 3-on-3 basketball situation had something to do with
Hey,
this?
man, that's
Oh,
cool.
let
That's cool, man.
me ask you something. If he didn't know Donald Trump's best friend, do you think that he would have endorsed Donald Trump?
He didn't endorse him.
See, that's why you need to go do some research.
He did not
This
endorse
you
him.
realize this has been going on since 2017, right?
He did not endorse him.
Do you understand?
He did not endorse him.
So do you understand that this Ice-T thing with Donald Trump has been going on since?
Ice Cube.
Well, whatever, ice butt, I don't care. That's why I say use your real damn name. You realize that this thing has been going on since 2017.
Oh, really?
Did I realize it's been going on since then?
It's been going on that long.
I did not, Dave.
That's my point. It's not like all of a sudden he had an epiphany and said, hey, this is what I'm going to do for the black community. This has everything to do with his 3-on-3 basketball league. Period.
How do you know that? For a fact, without a doubt, unequivocal. I can't even talk. Unequivocal. Jeez, I can't even talk. Unequivocal.
Unequivocally.
Unequivocal.
Callie.
Yeah. What you
Do
just
you
said.
like your mom? You say unequivocally.
What you just said.
Now say it.
We don't know this for a fact. I I don't
Okay.
know. We don't know it for a fact that is the case, and I don't want to disparage this
Okay,
man's
wait a
name.
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Mr. Robert, who is probably one of the most skeptical people in America, which I understand, I ain't mad at it, all of a sudden has no skepticism whatsoever.
JC,
Has no skepticism
I'm
whatsoever.
gonna ask one cat. I know he's
Okay.
gonna give it straight up.
Okay.
JC, I need you. I
Has-
need you for a second.
Has no
I just need you
skepticism.
to tell me one thing. I just need you to tell me what you think about this Ice Cube thing. Come on,
Walking
JC.
away.
Come on, JC. Come on, JC. I need some help over here.
Trust me, he ain't gonna help you.
We talked about this.
Oh,
He ain't gonna help you.
Jesus.
What help? What?
I get a man the benefit of the doubt. I can't believe y'all won't.
What?
Yeah, I gotta get a man the benefit of the doubt.
No,
Yeah, why not?
it's too much evidence to the contrary.
But listen, that man's in business. You can find anything you want that will go against what the man's trying to do. Why you looking at me like that, JC? Come on, Jay. What you got? Don't walk away.
Yeah.
He'll be back. I see it in his face. I see it in his face.
So this is what I was saying yesterday. Let's dissect this for a minute. And by the way, this is from our buddy Rufus Davis in Georgia, South Georgia. This is what he wrote. Let's dissect this for a minute. According to the American Bar Association, there are over 65,000 black attorneys in America. There are approximately 30,000 doctors, black doctors, in America. There are thousands of black elected officials in state, county, and local government. There are a number of black mayors. There are 3 black U.S. senators and 48 black congressmen and women. There is a black woman that is a vice presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. There's Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, who just left Washington. And America now needs a platinum plan for Black America from Ice Cube. Boom. That's the point.
You know what? Every day we sit on this show.
That's the point.
Every day we sit on this show.
That's the point.
Okay, I'm done. You and you bougie Negroes, y'all do y'all thing.
That's the point. Are you saying to me that we can only find rappers, ex-prostitutes, and gangbangers to lead the black community?
That picture is hilarious.
Have you seen this picture? Come over and look at this picture,
Woosah.
Rob. Come over and look at this picture. Come look at this picture. That's my point, is that
They are sick. That's just wrong on so
You know,
many levels.
if I'm getting ready to fly to Mars, I want the people at NASA. Okay, I want Katherine Johnson. That reminds me. So you all understand that when Katherine Johnson and those sisters that were at NASA, that you all know that the astronauts demanded that Katherine Johnson's numbers and figures be used before they would get in them flights.
I did.
Did y'all know that?
I did.
So my
Oh,
from Hidden Figures, right?
Yeah,
So
if you watch it, you should know too.
so my point is this: is that if I'm flying to the moon, I want to make sure that the person that's doing the calculating knows what the hell they're doing. That's my point about this.
what
Okay?
you talking about?
That's all I'm saying. Now, Jackson surely can come along for the ride, but he sure as hell he's not leading my train. Y'all can put him on y'all train. Y'all can put him on in the engineering,
So
but
Dave,
he ain't leading my train.
Dave,
You understand that analogy
Dave.
about NASA, right? And Katherine Johnson
Dave.
and Hidden Figures. You understand that, right?
Dave, you familiar with Russell Long? Do you know who Russell Long is?
No.
Russell Long is the son of Huey P. Long. You know what he did?
Probably.
He created the earned income tax credit as we know it today, right?
Okay. Well, he didn't create it, but he probably helped create it.
No, he pretty much created it. Just put it clear out there and there. Just
Did
reached up and poof, there it is.
No, he didn't. But go ahead. Just for the sake of your story.
So who did it if he didn't do it?
I'm simply saying that he may have come up with the idea, but it took Congress to enact it. So he didn't create it by himself.
The concept of an earned income tax credit was created by Huey P. By I can't remember
When I say idea, that means concept. But go right ahead.
Ice Cube can come up with a concept, Dave.
Did he come
Why
up with
can't
this?
he come up with a concept?
Did he come up with this?
But Dave, again, how can I sword eagles when I work with turkeys? But here we go.
Oh, there you go. Using my stuff.
So
Hey, did Katherine Johnson come up with the thought of going to the moon?
no.
No, she didn't. But you know what? If it wasn't for Katherine Johnson and her crew, we probably would have never made it.
Oh my goodness.
High five.
Ooh, Lord,
You get that, right?
this yarn is real. This
Yeah,
is not
there-
something
that's-
manufacturing.
That's okay.
Listen, guys, I love y'all with all my heart.
That NASA analogy is one of the best analogies I've come up with.
I don't think so.
It is.
However,
What was the point?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
whenever y'all finish, let me know so I can.
We're done
Okay.
for a moment.
I don't think the messenger is the problem. I think we should be
Oh,
more
yeah, it
focused
is.
on the message.
Oh,
And this is why black folks, this is why black folks who need help never get it. Because the people who are in positions of power who can help, like people like you, y'all spend y'all's time talking about not the substance of the conversation, but y'all not talking about the cake and how the cake was made. Y'all talking about the icing that they're gonna put on the cake. That's my point.
That goes with credibility.
I tell him,
How so?
he has no credibility.
You read it. You religious, right? You religious, okay. And all these other people who make all these other dumb quotes, all these other dumb crazy things that they've been saying, they are religious too, right? And so look at God and what God did with Noah. Look at God and what God did with David. I mean, look, none of these men perfect. And if you go back and ask, they tell you them cats wasn't perfect.
Anything about being perfect.
You said credibility. Noah didn't have no credibility with God. Hello? Don't make me start preaching up in here. I need to have your answer.
I'm reaching for my offering right now.
Oh, you have to
There
have
you go.
credibility. You got to be perfect.
No, that's no.
I say you don't have to be perfect to have credibility.
So why Ice Cube ain't got credibility?
You have to be qualified.
What qualifies him?
You tell me.
He a black man. I think he's qualified. He's a black man. He's a black businessman. I think he understands full well what the issues are in the black community. Are you saying that it's different for some blacks than it is for others? I'm just curious, David Cole.
Yes.
I'm just asking the question.
No, Robert.
Y'all tell me, is it different for some black folks than it is for others?
No, yes, it is.
Okay, I'm listening.
So
How so?
comparing-
The best example that I can give you again is the NASA example.
That's not a good example. Use another
It's
one.
you just don't like
Come
it
up
because
with
you
another
know
one.
it's on point.
No, I think it's absolutely
Look,
ludicrous.
like I said, I don't mind. Look, let's say for
Why is he
now
not
here.
good enough for
Okay,
us?
here's number one.
Why is he not good
Okay.
enough?
I would choose Kamala over Ice Cube.
Okay, and we know he didn't
You
come.
would choose who?
Kamala, my soror.
She locked your ass up too. All right,
See,
so
She wouldn't lock me up.
because all she got to do is say
she'd
"ski."
be like, yeah, she'd be like, put chains on her feet too.
I'm simply saying, as far as O'Shea Jackson is concerned,
Okay.
if you had a background in economics, yeah, I could believe that you wrote that plan. But we know now. I don't have listen. We don't have to use conjecture. We know for a fact that he borrowed that plan from the Congressional Black Caucus and part of Biden's plan on his website. We know that now. Okay, that's not me saying it. We know that happened. So for you, it's almost like me coming up with the Pythagorean theorem. No, it's almost like Pythagoras came up with well, let me even just use that example. Pythagoras did not come up with the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem came actually from the math studies in Africa. Pythagoras, who was Greek, went and got that theorem And the white world, European world, named it after Pythagoras. Pythagoras didn't create it, but Pythagoras is the
That's
person.
not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Dave.
it has.
This is what kills me about you.
What?
You go off on these damn tirades, and it's not what we're talking about. This is a tirade that you're just trying to kill it. No, Dave. But go ahead, finish. I'm gonna let you finish the
Thank
crazy.
you.
But
Thank
this
you.
ain't what we're talking about.
It is what we're
No,
talking
not.
about.
No, we're not.
The Pythagorean theorem was not created
Ooh. I'm
by
gonna read this when you finish.
Pythagoras, okay? But Pythagoras is getting, over the centuries, has gotten the credit, okay? This is the same thing with Mr. Jackson, is that he went and stole, plagiarized someone else's notes, and now he wants to pretend like he created it when we know he didn't. That's my point. That's all I'm saying. Be honest. He talking about, well, this is my plan. Negro, please, that ain't your damn plan.
It ain't nobody's plan. Ain't nothing been implemented.
What he was talking about.
Hey, Londa said, I'm tired of hearing about Ice Cube. At this point, he's living rent free in David's head. Ooh, Londa. Good shot, Londa.
Londa, this is called talk radio. We
And
discuss.
Dave wants to talk right now. Dave wants to talk about Ice Cube. He wants to talk about the man, not
I'm
the
done.
plan.
If we talk about the plan, don't you have to talk about the man?
No, you don't. You don't
Yeah,
talk
you
about
do,
the man.
because
You
we
don't talk
know
about the plan.
because we know the plan was stolen.
All right, let's compare.
The plan was stolen.
We don't have enough time, but we're
Okay.
gonna do it anyway.
That's all I'm saying. Don't sit here and blow smoke up my butt and tell me it's a campfire and break out the marshmallows. The plan was stolen.
He says Congressional Black Caucus says Trump's Ice Cube assisted platinum plan looks familiar.
What you wait a minute? Read that again, Tamika, for us. Read it again. Let me turn up your mic a little bit. Go ahead, darling.
Congressional Black Caucus says Trump's Ice Cube assisted platinum plan looks familiar.
Did you hear that, Robert Bueller.
I did not hear.
Bueller. That's my point. That's why I'm giving him grief. Is he's trying to take credit for somebody else's work. He's no better than Trump. That's what Trump did with Obama. He comes in on a wave of economic success that Obama left him, and he's running around talking about, I built the best economy in the history of America. You a damn lie. Obama did that. That's the same thing that Ice Cube is doing. Is that he's taking somebody else's information. And look, and maybe I'm extra sensitive about this because I'm an author. I create intellectual property. I take pictures, so I sign my name to my pictures. I'm really sensitive about that. You went and stole somebody else's intellectual property and named it as yourself, for yourself. No, that's wrong. Period. That's why I'm giving him grief. That's why I'm giving him grief. Instead of him, because number one, just based on what I know about Ice Cube, he doesn't have the mental intellect to write something like that.
Dave, don't do that, man. Please don't do that.
You missed my point. Look,
Oh, God. Jesus.
I could not go and write an article about nuclear fission. Because, oh, well, you're smarter than all of us. My point being is because I don't have the mental intellect about nuclear fission.
We're not talking about nuclear fission, Dave. We're
Okay.
talking politics. We're talking issues in the black community. And yes, that brother could write an article about issues in the black community and how we're not getting loans. He could do that, man. He's been black.
To make it do me a favor, read what you just read to me again. I think Robert's earphones may have been off. Could you? Yeah, because
Take your time.
we know that he did not write that plan.
They got an NC2A task force.
It says
Oh, hold on. The Democratic Black Caucus has a police accountability task force. It is chaired by Cedric L. Richmond, Rebuilding Community Trust. You got Bobby Rush on it. You got Sheila Jackson Lee on it. You got Barbara Lee on it. You got William Lacey Clay Jr. You got Karen Bass. I already said Cedric. You got Brenda Lawrence, Bunny Watson Coleman. That's my girl. Shout out to Miss Coleman.
That's my cousin. That's my cousin.
That's good. That's good. Dwight Evans and Anthony Brown. You got a poverty reduction task.
Okay, wait a minute. Stop. Read what I just want to get a clarification.
Congressional Black Caucus says Trump's Ice Cube assisted platinum plan looks familiar.
Okay. Go right ahead. I'm assuming you're reading from the Black Caucus plan, right?
No, I'm reading the Black Caucus. I'm reading their website.
And Sheila Jackson's in that too.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Keenan. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Is that don't blow smoke up my butt and tell me it's a campfire and then bring the marshmallows. Or I should say use Dookie as the marshmallows.
Education and Labor Task Force. Co-chairs are Danny Davis, Frederica Wilson, and Bunny Watson Coleman. And
So
Bobby Rush, Bobby Scott, Danny Davis, Greg Moore, Marcia Fudge,
and you
Frederica
just made me
Wilson,
think about something too.
Alma Adams, Brenda Lawrence, Bunny Watson Coleman,
So
and Donald
O'Shea Jackson said that he went to the Democrats and the Republicans.
No, he said they both reached out to him. He never said he went to them.
So why didn't O'Shea Jackson reach out to the Congressional Black Caucus?
Because maybe he felt like they wasn't doing nothing. Do you feel like they're doing something? I don't. Do you feel like they're doing something? Do you? Because every day we sit here and we talk about black politicians. Now all of a sudden you ride that bandwagon. Dude, you is one hypocrite. You are a hypocrite, Dave Coleman. And I'm saying that to you right here. You are a hypocrite. We sit on this show every day
Robert
and we
Webb
talk
will
about
not be
black
here
candidates.
tomorrow. Send you a flowers and cards to where you like to go to the hospital? UAMS.
No, I'm gonna go right here. You are a hypocrite, Dave. Man, me and you sit on here every day. We talk about black politicians. Now you're gonna talk about you should have reached out to the Congressional Black Caucus.
But
me and you called Cory Booker. He never called us back.
But here's the point.
Who else have we called that
So-
ain't called
so
us
think
back?
about
Who
this.
else have we called
No,
black
okay.
and they ain't called us back?
Think about this. Think about this seriously though.
Oh my God, Dave Coleman made me
Wouldn't he have more credibility if he would have said, I reached out to the Democratic Party,
No.
I reached out to the Congressional Black Caucus, no one returned my calls. It would have given him more credibility.
Why does a black man need credibility, Dave? Why does a black man need credibility talking about black issues? Why? How as a black man do I need to have? Why do I need Joe? Why do I need Joe Blessing to talk about issues that impact me?
Have you ever heard the Dolomite piece about the captain and the iceberg?
Yeah.
Captain, have you heard? We have struck an iceberg. Okay.
You can't say the whole. You can't say the
No, I
rest
can't
of
say
it.
the rest of it, but I'm just
But
simply
listen,
saying.
Dave, why does a black man have to get your approval, my approval, Tamika's approval to talk about black issues? Where did that come from?
He can talk about it all he wants, but when you're talking about leading the black community,
Did he say he was leading? I don't
he
think
did.
he said lead.
He presented a plan. That's my plan. Like, I'm Billy Badass. I made a plan, and you ain't did nothing. Nothing.
Okay. My point is, you and I sit on this show every day and we talk about politicians.
Yes, we do.
talk about black politicians.
Yes, we do.
And we're constantly saying that black politicians are not working for our benefit. Now you gonna sit on here and you gonna fix your mouth to say that he should have reached out to them very politicians that you and I say don't work for us.
Here's what I know too: that Ice Cube, O'Shea Jackson ain't working for our benefit either.
How do you know that?
Because there's a thing
Name
called.
me. I want you to name me 10 politicians in Little Rock that you know working for your benefit.
Okay, we're talking.
In Little Rock.
We're talking about Ice Cube.
All right, fine. Name me
Okay.
10 in the whole United States.
I'm simply saying that when you have a $10 million suit going on against a rival, and your best friend is Donald Trump's buddy, you have no credibility. Sorry.
Guilt
Sorry.
by association. I'm glad you're not a prosecutor.
Sorry.
You already have Ice Cube. You already had a needle in his arm.
Sorry.
You already had a needle in his arm.
Well, he's a capitalist. Capitalists do things for money.
Every day, player.
and they typically don't care about who they hurt.
Okay, everybody got their quote ready? Let's go. I can't take no more. I can't take no more. Tamika, you got your quote ready? Come on, sis. I know you got a good one today. Come on.
We got to get out of here. I'm sorry. By the way, did you hear that? You hear that Ronald McDonald was complaining to the FCC because people are calling him saying that he's a clown, and he's having to tell them, no, you're thinking about Donald.
Oh, jeez. Please read your quote to me. I can't take it anymore.
That was pretty good.
He like that. Look, he just ticking the hell out of himself on that one.
You're laughing too.
He just ticking himself.
Wasn't that good? That was a good one. That was a good one. Okay, I'm sorry. All righty. I'm waiting on y'all. I can come up with some more good jokes in a moment. You know, so.
No, don't come with no more jokes. Let my girl get a quote. Let my girl get a joke. She got it. She almost ready.
Almost. Okay.
By the way, we do this show every day, and we do quotes every day. And now Tamika Roberts rubbing off on you. Don't let him influence you by not being prepared.
I don't know what happened. I just had it.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Okay.
No one can give you freedom. Nobody can give you equality or justice or anything. If you're a man, you take it.
I knew that's who that was. Yes, baby. And guess what? He changed multiple times. But you know what? You know why people follow Malcolm? Because he put skin in the game. He didn't sell out.
It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. That's my man, Frederick Douglass.
Wow.
That's your boy.
That's my boy.
Since we are in this season, a voteless people is a voiceless people. A voiceless people is a defenseless people. A defenseless people is a contradiction to democracy.
That's what's up. I like that. You don't always like that one.
Y'all have a good day.
Hey, spend money in your own community. If you don't, nobody else will. Peace and love, black folks.
Peace.
Good show.